We all know the world has a bad case of superhero fever, but maybe you're tired of seeing all the same old faces and masks. Hey guys, I'm Adrian Cartoon Hangover, and thanks to one creator's near unshakable resolve, and a vault of characters that would make the cast of Infinity War look small, My Hero Academia breathes new life into the aging genre. So whether you're an All Might fanatic or just a civilian bystander, we've got something for everyone with 107 facts you should know about My Hero Academia. Let's get started. My Hero Academia, or Boku no Hero Academia in Japan, is based off of a manga series that debuted in July 2014 in Japan's most famous manga magazine, Weekly Shonen Jump. It's written and illustrated by Kohei Horikoshi. Just like Deku, Horikoshi was chasing some big dreams. His goal was to get into Shonen Jump, and fortunately, also like Deku, he didn't give up. Horikoshi previously worked on other manga like Barrage and Omaga Dokizu in Shonen Jump. My Hero Academia is by far his biggest hit. After Omaga Dokizu and Barrage were cancelled, Horikoshi was convinced that he was unfit to draw manga. Depressed after the quick cancellation of his second series, Horikoshi decided to channel positive ideas and happy feelings into his new work. He made the My Hero one-shot using his newfound ideology as a foundation for the Academia series. The one-shot My Hero debuted 6 years before Academia in the 2008 winter issue of Akamaru Jump, now known as Jump Next. There are a few notable differences between Izuku Midoriya from My Hero to My Hero Academia. For one, in the one-shot, his name isn't Izuku at all, it's Jack. He's also older and actually a salaryman instead of a student. According to Horikoshi, My Hero wasn't really suited to appear in a shonen magazine because the main character was fully grown at the time. Creating a hero academy was the natural evolution of his ideas, especially because Shonen Jump readers are usually students, so school would be the most relatable setting. Horikoshi picked a school setting because he loves origin stories, discovering how a hero becomes a hero and the things they must learn along the way. However, he does admit that it limits the scope of the series. Horikoshi says that he doesn't like to use cliffhangers in his work and worries that readers won't like the next chapter. When Horikoshi redesigned Deku for My Hero Academia, he tried to give him a more complicated look, with longer hair covering one eye. However, it just made Deku look like he needed a haircut. Horikoshi then figured that the simpler Deku's design, the better. The decision to turn the manga into an anime was made very early on, less than a year into the manga's production. Horikoshi was so surprised that it took a few days to actually hit him that he'd be getting his own TV show. As a reference, it took over 2 years for One Piece, the most popular manga of all time, to get a show. Horikoshi actually found out that My Hero Academia had been greenlit for an anime when his editor casually dropped the news during their weekly Friday discussions. The producer of the anime, Wakana Akamura, acknowledged that shonen anime doesn't always have the highest production value. However, because she saw the capability of My Hero Academia to become an international hit, she made sure that it was given the care it deserved from the get-go. When Horikoshi found out that My Hero Academia was coming to America, he was a little bit worried. He didn't think that his series would be popular overseas. In fact, he still isn't sure that everyone who's reading it actually enjoys it. Guess he didn't realize how superhero crazy we are over here. You know who did realize though? Mangaka Masashi Kishimoto. He praised Horikoshi, confident that the series would be hit with a foreign audience. And I think the author of Naruto knows a thing or two about that. Upon the release of the anime, My Hero Academia got a unique shout out and fan art from Kishimoto. Go check it out. My Hero Academia kicked off right around the time that Naruto finally concluded. As a result, Kishimoto had cited similarities between Naruto and Deku as part of the reason why My Hero Academia was able to fill the void left in fans' hearts by Naruto's ending. Eiichiro Oda, the creator of One Piece, also praised Horikoshi's work and says he's proud to be in the same publication as him, Shonen Jump. Horikoshi's favorite manga artist is Akira Toriyama of Dragon Ball Z fame. Many fans can see Toriyama's influence in Horikoshi's wide cast of powerful, sometimes non-human characters. Horikoshi enjoys American comics as well. Out of all of them, Horikoshi draws the most from Spider-Man. To him, Spider-Man is a quintessential superhero, someone who's always there to save the day and also reassures everyone that they're going to be okay. He designed the concept of academia around that philosophy, just your friendly neighborhood academy where students train to become heroes. You know, no big deal. In the first chapter of the manga, a who's who of modern superheroes actually appear in silhouette form, including Spider-Man, Superman, and Wolverine. In chapter 34, you can catch the Flash in the stands during Todoroki and Hanta Sero's fight, forgiving Todoroki and overdoing it in his fight. Those aren't the only copyright infringing silhouettes that had to be cut from the anime adaptation. In the manga, Nintendo's Mario and all of his buddies are used in Present Mike's explanation of the point system. The show just swaps them out with robots. One more crowd spot, this one's for the deep Horikoshi fans. Shishido and Toy Toy from Horikoshi's other manga series, Omaga Dokizu, make their return. The anime is produced by Bones, an animation studio in Japan that's responsible for the 2 Full Metal Alchemist series, which are my favorite by the way, as well as a Cowboy Bebop movie, and many others. Name your favorites down below. Of all the goodness that comes with an anime adaptation, Horikoshi was most excited for the action. He'd gotten feedback that the action scenes in the manga were hard to follow, so he figured that animation would help clear that up. Kenji Nagasaki, the director of the My My Hero Academia anime, first got into the industry after seeing Studio Ghibli's Castle in the Sky. The film showed him that anime is a source of artistic impression and fueled his passion to join the industry. Nagasaki said that the most difficult part of adapting the manga was keeping the originality and passion that went into creating this world. They were challenged to find ways to incorporate music and visuals to reinforce that perspective. The head animator of the series is Yutaka Nakamura. He's been behind some iconic anime like Neon Genesis Evangelion, Full Metal Alchemist, and Cowboy Bebop. In 2015, just over a year before the anime began airing, My Hero Academia was given a VOMIC, or voice comic, of the first chapter. They cast relatively unknown voice actors, with the exception of the prolific Tessho Genda as All Might. Genda's name might sound familiar to you because he's the voice of Kurama, Naruto, and Kaido in One Piece. Actually, Daiki Yamashita, who voiced Deku in the VOMIC, went on to voice him in the anime. Horikoshi had never given much thought to Deku's voice, but after hearing Yamashita in the radio drama, he found it difficult to imagine anyone else in that role. The anime debuted in April 2016 and brought the franchise to worldwide levels of popularity. Seriously, look at any top book ranking charts. I'm sure you're gonna find My Hero Academia somewhere in there. In Japanese, the nickname Deku was given to Izuku by Bakugo when they were younger. Deku is another reading of his name, and Bakugo uses it to mock Izuku, as Deku can mean one who can't achieve anything or do anything. However, Ochako finds the name very inspiring because Deku gives off a feeling of I can do it, since it sounds like the word Dekiru. Izuku decides to own the nickname because of it. However, in the English dub, Japanese wordplay obviously doesn't work, so instead, Ochako just thinks that Deku's name sounds cute, and Izuku, having a low-key crush on her, decides to keep it. After being saved by his hero All Might, Deku receives the miraculous one-for-all power and finally gets to apply for UA High School as a fully fledged hero in training. Like every Shonen Jump lead, he's kinda cool like Goku. If every Shonen Jump comic has its Goku, each one has to have a Sasuke or Vegeta character too. Deku's rival is his childhood friend named Bakugo, who can't stand to lose, especially to Deku. He's not the least bit scared of putting himself in harm's way if it means winning. Besides his sheer determination, another impressive characteristic is Bakugo's general explosion quirk. By the way, instead of using the general word power, the My Hero Academia specific term for superhero power is quirk. There are all kinds of quirks, big ones, small ones, fiery ones, icy ones, everything from shape-shifting to animals with high degrees of intelligence. Due to the rampant presence and variation of quirks in My Hero Academia, it's impossible for the law to strictly regulate or accommodate for all of them. So there's a universal don't use your quirk in public unless it's in self-defense rule that everyone is subject to. However, like jaywalking, people tend to be lenient towards minor violation of the law, as long as the quirk is something safe like levitation and not explosions. Horikoshi has an issue coming up with character names. A lot of the time, he'll pick something because it sounds funny or contains a pun, then regret it later because it turns out to be a silly name, like Tetsu 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 Tetsu. One of the kanji in Izuku's name is a homophone to the kanji for 9, which could allude to him being the 9th one-for-all user. Likewise, All Might's real name includes the kanji for 8, a reference to him as the 8th user. The villain that All Might swoops in and defeats in episode 9 is never actually called by the name in the anime. In the manga, his name is revealed to be Trapezius Headgear. The first My Hero Academia character poll, which was released after chapter 62 of the manga, lists Deku, Todoroki, and Bakugo as the 3 most popular characters. Behind them in the top 10, Ochako, All Might, Tsuyu, Fumikage, Tenya, Shota, and Denki. Justin Briner, who voices Deku, has said the most relatable part of Deku is his passion and determination. Even if you're not at his level of fanaticism, simply having passion for the things you do and admiration for the people who do them better is enough to understand him, which makes it easy for Briner to tap into his feelings. According to Briner, he believes the true message of the show lies within the lesson that Deku must learn of never giving up, that with hard work and devotion, you can achieve your goals. The opening theme of the first season of the anime is The Day by Porno Graffiti. The band also performed the opening theme for Full Metal Alchemist, as well as the 11th opening of Bleach. The ending theme of the first season is Brian the Sun's Heroes. It's the band's first major foray into the world of anime theme writing. Fun fact, Deku's costume costs about 40,380 yen, or about $366 US. It may seem badass to be Shoto Todoroki, but it takes a lot of work to keep his life together. His costume is both a radiator and air conditioner depending on which he needs, and his boots are equipped with cleats in case he accidentally freezes the ground he's standing on. Fans have compared Todoroki to Prince Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Both are pyromancers with gnarly eye scars and serious daddy issues. Ignoring the fact that this show is about, well, superheroes, let's have a quick science lesson. Endeavor's blood type is AB, which is nearly impossible without some genetic complication. But again, Shoto inherited fire superpowers from his dad, so maybe a blood mismatch is isn't so far-fetched. Bakugo can create explosions with just his sweaty palms. This is due to the sweat he secretes, often described as nitroglycerin light, which allows his hands to disperse explosive energy. Well, if anything, it packs one hell of a punch. Bakugo wasn't always Katsuki's first name. Originally, he was going to be called Gogo. The Baku part is an allusion to the Japanese word for explosion, so the new name captures his powers and personality. In an early draft, Bakugo was written as a highly competent, friendlier genius who only offended or hurt people because he was so out of touch. Horikoshi found this boring though, and scrapped it. One of the reasons Horikoshi made Ochako such a bubbly, lively character is because he knew she'd share a lot of the screen time with Deku. So, of the two of them, someone had to actually drive the conversation. Originally, Mount Lady was going to be the heroine co-star of the series, but Horikoshi scrapped it because he felt like focusing on a character whose only power is growing would lead to dark places. What, like space? I made a joke. I'll see myself out now. Horikoshi is proud of himself for coming up with Ochiko's name. Her name literally means tea child pretty day, with her last name being homophonous for beautiful. All Might, whose real name is Toshinori Yagi, has eyes that are all black except for the pupils. Why? According to Horikoshi, it's because he's such an emaciated bag of bones that his eyes are perpetually cast in shadows. His visible pupils, however, show that there's still light beaming inside of him. Deku may look up to All Might, but Horikoshi's colleagues certainly didn't feel the same way. They felt that All Might just looked like some cheesy old guy who no one would ever idolize. That just pushed Horikoshi to draw him even better. The series as a whole is influenced by American comics, but All Might is the character most directly influenced by heroes. In fact, anime director Nagasaki points out that he's a combination of numerous existing heroes. There's even a scene in the first season where the students comment on All Might's costume and call it a Silver Age costume. All of All Might's moves are named after places in the United States. Some speculate that it's because All Might is actually American, or it could be an allusion to him being based on American superheroes. Sabin and Clinkenbeard put a lot of time into the development of All Might's voice. They decided that his heroic voice is completely put on to make people feel better. Meanwhile, they wanted to make sure his true voice didn't come off like an angry, uninterested Vegeta voice. They wanted it to have a truly tired, worn cadence. Chris Sabat and Justin Briner, who voiced All Might and Deku, have something of mentor-mentee relationship of their own. Briner is new to the anime voice acting scene, while Sabat is a veteran with years of Dragon Ball Z and One Piece under his belt. So Briner still nerds out while Sabat is used to all of it. Kenta Miyake made a touching observation about All Might's character. When he gives Deku the one-for-all power at the beach, he does so in his muscular form, even though Deku knows about his true form, and there's no one around to impress. Miyake interprets this as All Might showing respect to Deku by passing the torch as a hero. Tsuyu and Toru were both designed as men at first, before Horikoshi realized that Class 1A was seriously lacking in women. As a result, both characters got gender swapped, and to be honest, Tsuyu is one of the most popular characters now. Tsuyu was originally designed with way fewer frog traits. This gave her a more human look, and because of this, she was going to be a more downbeat character. Tsuyu's froggy influences were added in because Horikoshi always wanted to create a frog-like character. Follow your dreams? Tsuyu inherited her frog abilities from both her mother and father. They're both frog people. Her younger siblings also have the same quirk. I guess that's how superhero science works? Fumikage's hero alias, Tsukiyomi, comes from Tsukiyomi no Mikoto, a moon god in Shinto and Japanese mythology. Horikoshi thinks that Fumikage is the coolest guy around, but he suspects that Fumikage doesn't encounter that opinion in his day-to-day life. He's got a face only his artist mother could love. Tenya is Horikoshi's favorite character to draw. He's one of the last characters that Horikoshi created during the serialization meetings. Apparently his character went in a completely different direction than they'd originally planned. Tenya has an engine quirk which, according to Horikoshi, he created because it was best for a true pro hero. Tenya's original design was completely different, shredded with a bony bird mask. It was conceived before the high school setting was even decided on, explaining the drastic change. Horikoshi has said that of all his characters, the one that he'd most likely hang with at a party would be Tenya. Who would you want to party with? Comment down below and let us know. Denki's key role as a character and in Class 1A is to be the glue that holds everyone together, like the battery powering a closed electrical circuit. Before Horikoshi carved out that role, however, he drew Denki as a generic electric quirked man. In fact, that early design looks like he intended the character to be a villain. It's striking. Apparently, Horikoshi has trouble drawing Denki's hair the same each time. It's a struggle made easier by the fact that his hair is fun to draw either way. If there's only 18 kids to a class, then how come Class 1A has 20 students? Horikoshi says that because Todoroki and Yaoyorozu were added in via special recommendations, they don't count in the lineup, something he regrets not making clear. Class A's teacher was almost Midnight instead of Aizawa, but Horikoshi swapped them because the original setup would have necessitated Midnight being hostile to the students. Horikoshi deliberately designed Tomura to to look scary looking. Oh, and also because he has a hand fetish apparently? Originally, the announcer for the UA entrance exam was an older, overweight man. However, Horikoshi wasn't satisfied and switched him up into Present Mike, a little younger and with the gravity-defying hair we know and love. The word Hage on Present Mike's headphones, which means Baldy, is a carryover from his original design as an old man. Now, however, it's just a headphone brand, Baldy by Dre. Eraserhead's character was crafted when Horikoshi thought of how an absolutely 100% rational person would behave, but with bad social skills sprinkled on top. Present Mike and Eraserhead are from the same UA graduating class. Oh, to see those days at the academy. Horikoshi suspects that Eraserhead has a really bare-bones, undecorated room. He's that guy. Only he likes cats, so he's probably got one of those lounging in there. Mount Lady's life is a constant circle of debt. She's a great hero, so she's always called in to clean up the city, but consistently causes immense property damage thanks to her size. So then she needs to make the money back, often going too hard and destroying even more in the process. Bubble Girl isn't actually a Horikoshi original. She's fan-made. Artist Agen Chita won a Pixiv contest and got to have her hero added into the manga. Snipe originally appeared in the My Hero one-shot as Positive, before being retooled for the Academia series. The heroic origin stories aren't just limited to the main cast. Horikoshi also loved coming up with the background information about all the little side characters in his universe. For instance, news reporter Miyage Daikaku faced a great deal of criticism when he sliced off one of his horns. Some praised him for the dedication to his career, while others thought of it as self-hatred and quirk denial. Who don't we get elaborate backstories on though? The villains. In order to keep the baddies mysterious, loathsome, and threatening, Horikoshi is careful with the amount of extra information he puts out about them. As of a year ago, which will probably be longer if you're watching this 2 years from now, the manga had covered approximately 20% of the storyline. Horikoshi knows the entire story from beginning to end, making select changes along the way just to improve it. Chris Sabat likens the show to Game of Thrones or Lost, in the sense that there's a complete storyline that's continuing to develop in Horikoshi's head, but which no one else knows. It's a trend that Sabat hopes continues, because it would give anime seasons like traditional American TV. While Horikoshi does love focusing on the origin stories of the young heroes, he's also prepared to push them into adulthood to create stories more like American comic heroes. His proposed title for this sequel series? Boku no Hero 2, The Electric Boogaloo. Oh, you're so funny, Horikoshi. Nagasaki says that My Hero Academia is neither a traditional superhero story nor a traditional shonen story. It's a mashup of the two, which makes the show unique, as it follows the conventions of both American comics and Japanese manga. A parent isn't supposed to play favorites, but Horikoshi still does with his creations. Even Bakugo's costume is one of his favorites in the series, despite its grossness. Horikoshi has been seen in interviews wearing an elaborate gas mask. No, he's not trying to dress like a supervillain, he just gets self-conscious showing his face on TV. The other thing he gets self-conscious about? His past sketches. Horikoshi's love for Star Wars has actually slipped its way into the show. Places like Dagobah Municipal Park and Tatooine Station are direct references to planets from the original trilogy. The name Dagobah Municipal Park is more than just a passing reference though. Deku getting his training from All Might there mirrors Luke getting his training from Yoda on the planet of the same name. Both mentees even carry their mentors. Horikoshi sometimes has dreams about his characters. It's never influenced the story before though. Usually he says they're just hanging out, doing their own thing nearby. The original manga was nominated for the very prestigious Manga Taisho Award, an award specifically for excellent new manga. The year it came out in 2014. It was nominated with other critically acclaimed mega hits like Erased, A Silent Voice, and Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. In just 3 years, the manga has over 10 million copies in print in Japan. That's a lot of teen superhero hijinks. At the time of this video, 14 volumes and 140 individual chapters of the comic have been released. A video game based on the series called My Hero Academia Battle for All was released for the Nintendo 3DS in 2016. It's a fighting game that covers the manga storyline up until the sports festival arc and allows you to play as all your favorite amateur heroes. There's a My Hero Academia trading card game. We could make some lame pun like here's Blue Eyes White Deku, but we'll spare you from that pain. Around the time the anime began to air, a drama CD, which are pretty popular in Japan and recorded in the vein of radio dramas, was bundled with the 7th volume of the manga. An official soundtrack for the anime was also released on June 2016. In between the two seasons, a one-off episode of My Hero Academia was screened at the 2016 Jump Festa, a big convention for all of Shonen Jump where exclusive one-off episodes and shorts are often showcased. If you're lucky enough to be visiting Japan in the next few months, you can actually attend an IRL My Hero Academia interactive puzzle solving game. You can solve puzzles, fight bad guys, and control your own quirks in Tokyo, Osaka, and Nagoya for $30 a pop. I can't believe I missed that. I was just in Japan like 3 months ago. Last year, Anime Cafe in Ikebukuro, Tokyo hosted a limited time My Hero Academia cafe. You can drink All Might soda, eat Ochako's zero gravity parfaits, and even partake in Deku's Katsudan, or pork bowl for you English-speaking folk. The The Anime Cafe is currently running a second My Hero Academia Cafe run, but this time the food and drinks are all based around the sports festival arc. Would you eat something called UA Sports Festival Gold Medal Pasta? Once again, I'm Adrian, and thanks for watching 107 Facts about My Hero Academia. Who is your favorite superhero? Have you cosplayed any? Comment below and let us know. If you like this 107 Facts and would like more 107 anime facts, subscribe to Cartoon Hangover so you don't miss any of our latest videos. Thank you for sharing your Cartoon Hangover with us.